Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they've pledged you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Kermitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we watched the 1978 TV special, Julie Andrews' One Step into Spring, that aired on CBS on March 9th, 1978. And, yep, it's a thing. We watched.
We can't ever unwatch it.
Nope. We had to watch it legally for this podcast. Maybe we should have, combined it with something else because it's maybe a little light on the Muppet content. But, I don't watch these things before I plan out the schedule.
Matt's not perfect. Leave him alone.
Yeah, shut up.
Don't write him a mean email.
We've already established on this podcast that I can never be wrong, so clearly I'm not wrong this time.
Well,
no,
you're the closest you've been to wrong so far.
I will fully accept that. Okay. There was definitely a mistake made a little bit in the scheduling of this episode.
There's also a mistake made in March 9th, 1978.
Yeah, but we will get to that. So we wanted to have a little fun before we talk about this monstrosity of Muppetdom that we watched this week. So it's time for another Muppet Mad Lib.
We got to have like a sound clip, like Muppet Mad Lib.
There you go. Just play that and echo it like 1,000 times. All right, Sam, we're going to run through this faster than we did last time, so that way you have less pauses to edit out.
Okay. Don't tell me you're not going to tell me the subject, right?
Nope. You don't get to know anything about this until we start to actually read through it. So first, I need an adjective.
That's the one that describes a noun?
Yep.
Buttery.
Noun.
Hand.
Plural noun.
Trees.
Adjective.
Shit. Shiny.
Part of the body.
Belly.
Number.
7.
Noun.
Table.
Another noun.
Light bulb. Adjective. Nasty.
Ooh. Verb.
Devoured. Devour. Whatever.
Yeah, not the past tense.
Okay.
Another noun.
Hair.
Another noun.
Basketball.
A plural noun.
Oh, man, there's so many nouns. Sofa. Sofas.
Sofas it is.
Where's all the verbs? There isn't any verbs.
They supplied all the verbs this time.
Okay.
And then another part of the body.
How about I say the thumb?
And that's it, Sam.
That was a short one.
It's a shorter one, but it is the tale of Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy.
Oh. Ew, uh-oh. Okay. They're going to play basketball at some point.
Or at least do something with a basketball. The story of Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy's relationship is a long and buttery one.
Mm-hmm.
It all began when Miss Piggy was just a young hand, and Kermit was driving across the country in search of fame and trees. When they met, the two shared a very romantic and shiny dinner as they gazed into each other's bellies. It was obvious that theirs was a love that would last for all time, or at least until Miss Piggy got an important phone call. For 7 years, through thick and thin, through table and light bulb, the pig and the frog have been together. Their relationship has always inspired many nasty questions.
Yes, it has.
Will they be together or devour once and for all?
Uh-oh.
Are they ever going to tie the hair? Both Kermit and Miss Piggy have dated others, and each time it seems like their relationship is finally at the end of its basketball. But somehow, against all sofas, they always seem to find their way back into each other's thumbs.
Ew.
Or at least in the vicinity of each other's thumbs. The end.
Miss Piggy did start out a hand. That is true.
That is very true. She was Frank Oz's hand before she was ever a pig.
I love Through Table and Light Bulb.
Yeah, that felt appropriately Muppety.
Well, I thought we maybe could glean something from that. Like we kind of could glean something from the Electric Mayhem one, but it was just kind of a retelling of the Muppet movie, and then I guess the new Muppet TV show? Is that what the they dated other people thing is?
Yeah, so this Muppet Mad Libs book seems to have come out around the time of the ABC series. And so when I'm going through it, trying to pick one out, they either are about something that's happening on the ABC series, or it's telling the backstory of something that happened like in the Muppet movie or the Great Muppet Caper. And the ones I haven't chosen so far are a lot of them are in character ones, like written from the point of view of Uncle Deadly or Miss Piggy or Scooter. Which the only reason I haven't done is because it would feel weird to just like read it very calmly in my voice as Miss Piggy. So I'm not sure. I think there's like a disconnect there that keeps me from picking those ones.
You gotta try, you coward.
The next time we are not sure what to discuss at the beginning of an episode, we'll do the Miss Piggy Mad Lib. And we also tweeted out before we were recording this evening if anyone had any questions or anything they wanted us to talk about on the podcast here, and we got a few responses. So let's just dive into these. Sam has not been forewarned about any of these. No. So Matt here, not me, on Twitter, asked if you could reskin any Disney ride to have a Muppets theme or story, which one would you choose?
Oh, I would do a month where every single ride is rethemed to have Muppets in it. I think that would be cool. They'd fit into every single one of them. Like, Pirates of the Caribbean would be hilarious with Muppets. Hall of Presidents would be... Oh, maybe Hall of Presidents. That one would be funny.
Are all the, like, animatronics just replaced with Muppet presidents?
Yeah, every single... Well, every president will be played by a different Muppet.
Gotcha.
And it would be hosted by... Or it could just be hosted by Sam Eagle with all the regular... That's what it would be. All the Muppet presidents would stay the same, but you take out... Is it Benjamin Franklin? Does he host a Hall of Presidents? I don't remember.
Is there a host?
Or that's like... I don't remember. I think there's a host. That might be a different ride. I haven't been to Disney World in such a long time. Benjamin Franklin hosts something there. And Mark Twain, remember that? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
There's like a ride. Am I imagining that there's a ride with those two?
Maybe.
The two grown men kidnap me and just pretend like they were Mark Twain and Benjamin Franklin.
I don't remember a Benjamin Franklin and Mark Twain ride specifically.
Shoot.
Mark Twain's got the riverboat.
Well, I know that, of course.
You say that, but you think Benjamin Franklin was just hanging out at Disney World.
I don't know. I can't choose. What would you pick?
I think Pirates of the Caribbean is a good one because you automatically have the Muppet Treasure Island characters just like strewn in there. Like you can take out Johnny Depp and just toss in Tim Curry. But I like in trying to think about what you could actually like change dramatically to make it more like Muppet themed. Yeah, I think you could do something with like the Tower of Terror, like having some sort of like Muppet hotel thing. But honestly, I think like Muppet Vision is already kind of like perfect, like the way of like using the Muppets in the theme parks. I think that's an already kind of perfect way to do it. So like one, add Muppet Vision back into Disneyland, please. Yeah. Bring it back. I'm also trying to imagine what inserting Muppets into It's a Small World would be like.
Oh, yeah.
I
just like if you go the angle where they're like in the ride, but they're not supposed to be in the ride and they're like messing things up, I think that would work for any of the rides, really.
Yeah, it's hard to think of like what you would absolutely like replace like the entire ride with Muppet theming because it's almost better if they're just like interfering with other rides. And it was like the initial concept, I believe, for the Muppet ride that never was that was pitched back in the early 90s was like a spoof of the Great Movie Ride but with Muppets.
Oh my god, that would have been the best.
Yeah, but that fell through. Jim Henson died, and the Muppet Land that was intended for Disney never got to see the light of day, unfortunately.
There's a whole Muppet Land?
They were at least having like a little area. Like if you go to Disney World now, there is like a little bit of an area there that has become taken over by it's been taken over a bit by Pixar now, but it has like the Miss Piggy fountain and the Muppet Vision 3D theater.
Right.
And there was like a gift shop there that I don't think is there anymore. That was like a lot of Muppet merch. But I believe like that area was supposed to be a lot more Muppety.
Right.
And unfortunately, it was not. And right now they do have Muppets at the park doing their little Christmas carols.
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, so they're at least using the Muppets there, and people seem
Yeah.
to be really into it. So
It's such a great place for them to like. I wouldn't be mad if that's just where they lived mostly from now on. If they were just like park attractions, because they can be animatronics and not look weird. Is one of the main great things about them, I would say.
something I learned on another podcast that unfortunately I'm not remembering which one I heard it on right now. I listened to too many other Muppet podcasts. Is that the puppets they use at like Disney World and Disneyland when they have the Muppets like actually being performed there are like slightly like 10% scaled up from the normal Muppets so that people can see them better from a distance.
That's weird.
Yeah. So like if you were actually up close next to them, you'd be like, Kermit looks too big.
Huge.
But when you're just watching them perform, it's convincing and looks just like normal Kermit to you. The other question we got, two people actually sent in very similar questions, so I just want to ask them both real quick, and we can chat about this for a second. At Loose Cell Pod and at Joss Hosky, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name there, basically asked, if Disney hired us to lead a project, a Muppet project, we can choose any property ever created. There's no cap on the budget. It can be rated anything. We have complete creative control. We can ignore any legal rights or complications.
It can be rated anything.
That's what Joss asked, included in their question. I don't know necessarily what Joss is imagining. An R-rated thing that isn't the Happy Time Murders. But yeah, I guess this is a big old question that maybe you haven't thought a ton about, but I'm throwing it at you now. Essentially, what's your dream Muppet project if you were put in control?
I could just be boring and steal Brian J. Jones's answer about the what's it called? The $1 billion Muppet movie, or what's it called?
The cheapest the cheapest Muppet movie ever made?
Yeah, that would be a fun one. You talk first, and I'll think about it.
Honestly, it's one of those things where my gut says what the Muppets need to really propel themselves back into like stardom is a really good version of the Muppet Show. But I also don't necessarily see a world in which that's even really possible right now.
Famous people are too expensive these days, I feel like.
Well, and I think you have to get like just the right famous people to come in and be committed in the way that so many of the guests that we've watched in the Muppet Show are. And I feel like a lot of times now you get the star who is in awe of the Muppets and is just so happy to be there hanging out with them that you don't get a lot of JP Morgans these days who are like, oh God, I have to do this cute puppet show. And I think you need some of that energy to mix it up, and you just need it to be like a Saturday Night Live type variety show that the celebrity is coming in to be a guest on. And I think they like sort of tried a version of that, especially in the later half of the season on the Muppets ABC series. But I feel like, I feel like that's what they need is some version of that to get back on people's good side. Because I think they can keep doing specials like Muppets Haunted Mansion forever, every so often. But I don't think that's enough to like really like make their mark in this decade. I
think had I been in a position to do so, I would have thrown all of my weight into getting another season of the Muppet Show, the 2016, is that when it was from?
Yeah,
Earlier
2015, yeah.
That version of the Muppets, I think could have used another season just to see what was going to happen with that. I think a talk show would be fun, like the Elmo talk show that Elmo still has maybe or had for a season.
He does. The first season's like a late night talk show, and the second season is more of like a game show combination thing.
Oh, interesting.
But it's really good, and it's a fun way that you can tell there's a little bit of improv that gets to happen there between the guests and the Muppets. They have a version of that with Earth to Ned. But that's such a high concept show that like you're asking a lot of your audience to get into a show like that. Whereas like if you just had Kermit hosting a late night show that's competing with freaking Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel, Like, I would happily watch that.
But I think to me, like I said earlier, I'd be over the moon if there was a Muppet park at Disney. Like, I feel like that's a dorky thing to say, kind of, but that would be so fun. I think that'd be the perfect place for me, and I would love to go there and just like ride a Muppet ride, and it would have like little doors where Muppets could come pop out and scream at you, and I don't know, that just seems like the kind of like undignified retirement that would be perfect for them, is just to become a park at Disney, and something that'd be really fun to like Imagineer.
Yeah, and I think that's like would make a lot of sense because the Muppets are in the hands of Disney Imagineering now. Like, that's who's in charge of them. But I feel like the one thing that we should mention here is that there was more to this idea of Muppet Land, of the Muppets taking over Disneyland back in 1991. And there's a full like Muppet Wiki article about it if you want to go check that out, of like what was actually like intended to change. And it was basically a proposed Muppet takeover of Disneyland that was going to be for the entire year of 1991.
What? I've never heard of this before.
I think Defunct Land actually has done an episode about this that goes into a lot of the details. But yeah, on Muppet Wiki it says, among the proposed changes to the park would have been covering over the Disneyland entrance marquee with the word Muppet Land. The famous Mickey-shaped flower bed at the entrance would have been replaced with Kermit's head. Miss Piggy would have taken over as Cleopatra in It's a Small World. Animal would have appeared in Pirates of the Caribbean. And the 147-foot tall Matterhorn Mountain was going to be painted green.
That's so weird. This would have been such a bad idea, but
it's kind of what we proposed.
Yeah, they need their own corner of the park where they can just live.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I know Toontown's getting a whole revision, but like, we need that, like a Toontown type area that is a Muppet Land. And it could be the like New Yorky area by like where Pizza Rizzo is, because like obviously the Muppets are mostly in the real world. So like just have a street that has a bunch of interactive
it would be so
things.
much easier than trying to make like a Toontown, because Toontown looks like, you can't make Toontown look good. It's going to look goofy no matter what you do. But you can make Muppet Land look good because they're real. Wow, this is weird. This would have been so weird if it was real.
Yeah, I highly suggest everyone go check out that Defunct Land video to get all those details. And obviously, we talked a little bit about why it didn't happen, but they go into more about what almost happened, why it didn't happen, and all that. So yeah, if you, dear listener, have any fun ideas for what you wish Disney would do with the Muppets, either in movie form or in theme park form, let us know on Twitter @KermitmentPod.
Or if you work for Disney, hey, come on.
Yeah, didn't make it happen. Something. Come on.
We got some ideas. Come on.
Get us in a room and just ask us some Muppet questions, and we'll tell you all the best ideas. We're holding back the good ones. Don't worry.
I edited out all the good stuff we said.
Yeah.
I'll send you the good file if you get in touch.
Yeah, Venmo us $500.
That's exactly our price. $500.
Apparently, that is our price, because we both. Yep. Okay. But anyway, Sam, we did watch something this week that had some Muppets in it for a little bit. So how about you go ahead and tell us what we watched?
Julie Andrews' One Step into Spring was, I got to assume, one of the specials offered to Julie Andrews in return for the Julie Andrews Hour being canceled a few years before this. Seems like too far out, so maybe it wasn't related to that, but there's really not a lot of info about this.
No, and this one did not seem to be produced by the production company that her husband worked with,
true.
Which was different from some of the other ones. So yeah, I wish there was more information about this, but there doesn't seem to be a lot.
Could have just been its own thing, but I don't know. So in it, Julie sings and dances as she does, but she also awkwardly interviews Leslie Uggams, who has starred in the miniseries Roots a year before this, and that was a huge hit. And then she also does a little disco dance with Leo Sayer, who is a tiny British fellow in overalls, who's probably best known for the song he sings in this special, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing, which was a big hit the year before this. Maybe it was still, I'm not really sure. And also, of course, she hangs out with the Muppets for a fraction of this special. The first Muppet appearance comes at the end of the opening act. Gonzo comes out of a hole in the floor and tells Julie to shut up because he's trying to sleep, quote, the same way he sleeps through all of her shows. After that, Kermit comes out and says that the Muppets are pissed because they got cut from the opening act, to which Julie replies that they're about to be even more pissed because their sketch, like their entire sketch, has been cut from the show, the Hat Shop sketch. So then she goes off to see Piggy, Floyd, Scooter, and Gonzo, who are preparing for the sketch, to break the bad news to them. Piggy is extremely rude to Julie, but when Piggy says that they could cut one of Julie's songs because they go on forever, she does have a point. They do all go on forever. Anyway, they all leave to go hang out with Leo Sayer, and Julie notices Rolf is noodling around on a piano in the corner. They sing a song together, which is nice. And then after that, there's 30 minutes of Julie and Leslie Uggams interview with this very odd interview that culminates in a sort of body medley focused around one of my least favorite songs of all time, All That Jazz. After that, we find Julie in a greenhouse where she sings to some Muppet flowers. The flowers start growing and smothering Julie, but before they can finish the job, Kermit comes and chases them all away. Then he starts complaining because he doesn't have an Easter bonnet and wasn't invited to the Easter parade, a concept that is only just introduced in this moment. Then they sing that In Your Easter Bonnet song, and they go to the Easter parade where all the Muppets and guest stars are prancing about. They sing and dance for a while. Thog is there. That just kind of, whatever, runs out of gas and ends. Then Julie comes out and sings a goodbye song, and I'm completely over these Julie Andrews specials. At least that other one was weird, where she's talking about adopting kids. This one wasn't even weird.
Yeah, thankfully this is the last of the Julie Andrews specials that we will be watching. We do get her show later on she does with Netflix in partnership with the Jim Henson Company, but that is years away. And yeah, this is, some of the other ones had this same formula where they would have the Muppets show up at the beginning and the end, and in the middle was a whole lot of not Muppets. But like you said, at least some of them were weird, or at least they used the Muppets in a more interesting way, whereas the conceit of this one is mostly Julie being antagonistic to the Muppets, not letting them do anything.
She cuts their skit and then does a bunch of stuff that would be much more boring than their skit.
And they even reference the fact that they're going to go hang out and see if Leo Sayer will let them perform with him. And that doesn't go anywhere. We don't see him with the Muppets at all. So you're
he
like,
must have said no.
Yeah. It is worth noting, though, that we will see Leslie Uggams and Leo Sayer both again in season 3 of The Muppet Show. And Leo Sayer will be on the Tonight Show episode that Kermit is guest hosting in 1979. And Leslie Uggams will be in a special Sesame Street Christmas special that we're going to be watching in a couple weeks.
There's 2, you said?
Yes.
One is bad and one is good.
That is the rumor. There are 2 1978 Sesame Street Christmas specials. One is apparently garbage, and the other one is apparently very cute and enjoyable. I don't know which is which, but we're watching both of them.
Interesting. And they came out the same year?
Yeah.
What the hell?
No. We will hopefully find out some more about that when we do that episode in a couple weeks.
I tried to look up some other cool stuff that happened in 1978. I don't think anything happened in 1978.
Well, this is also, we're talking about one day in early March 1978
I did look specifically
for this.
for that day. Not even any cool people were born this day.
They just knew it was a dud of a day.
Yeah.
But yes, this special, it's brought to you by Sears, where America shops.
Oh, that was the best part. That animation for Sears at the beginning was really cool.
Yeah. I think that there's a couple things in this where I'm like, ooh, 1978. Some people are learning some new editing tricks because there's a strobe-like effect that they give to the dancers who are dancing with Julie Andrews at the very beginning, where they like flash on and off real quick, and then they like disappear and
they
vanish.
fade away very convincingly at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it starts off, like you mentioned, Gonzo is sleeping under the stage of the theater.
Yeah, I liked this. This kind of was like, oh, maybe this will be good. Because Gonzo and her's little interaction is funny, and he's mean to her, which they all are mean to her. It seems like they don't want to be there. Like,
it seems like they knew what this special was going to be, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is what we signed up for.
Yeah, like Kermit's a little off and a little grumpy. Everybody is, but I liked Gonzo coming out and being like, hey, this is boring and I'm asleep.
And speaking of Kermit being a little off, the first thing he does is like come out, and Julie is like, oh, my friends the Muppets. And he's like, your ex-friends the Muppets.
Yeah.
And they are mad that they were cut from the opening number. So she apparently has just cut them from all over this special.
Right. And maybe you shouldn't make the concept of your special be about how you cut the Muppets, who are like very popular right now and really interesting and funny. out of your special and then don't deliver on anything more interesting and funny. Even though there was obviously never a hat skit, like,
Right.
don't pretend like something funny could have happened in your show.
Yeah, like, it would have been fun if we had you guys in the opening number, but we had to cut it. It'd be fun if we
Yeah.
did a hat sketch, but we had to cut it.
The hat sketch sounds like it would have been a gas.
But yeah, like you said, Miss Piggy wants to replace Julie Andrews, wants to take over because she believes she is a much better star and a better singer and pretty much everything better than Julie Andrews.
It would have been a fun Piggy special. She's right.
Imagine Piggy coming out in the middle of the medley with Leslie Uggams and like pushing Julie Andrews off the stage and taking her spot.
Yeah.
That would have been great. There's a comment in this section where I think it's Scooter, when they're saying they want to go hang out with Leo Sayer. He says, because he's more our size.
Yeah, we're all the same size.
Yeah. And there's a couple jokes in this commenting on Leo Sayer being a tiny man.
Yeah, and he is tiny.
He's 5'4".
That's pretty tiny.
Yeah, he's not like Paul Williams tiny, but he's pretty
No,
tiny.
but how tall is Paul Williams?
I think like 5'1" or 5'2".
Well, okay. But he's still pretty tiny.
Yeah. But yeah, Leo Sayer apparently is the very tiny man who sings You Make Me Feel Like Dancin', which I did not know who sang that song before.
I thought it was the Bee Gees or something.
That makes
sense.
sense.
He sounds like a Bee Gee.
I think when I looked up Leo Sayer height, one of the suggestions was one of the Bee Gees. Actually, when I did look up Leo Sayer height, the suggestions underneath it that were like people also look for, it was Adam Faith. I don't know who that is, but he looks old-timey because he's in black and white. Kiki D, who performed Don't Go Breaking My Heart with Elton John. And the third suggestion is Uncle Cracker's height.
Oh.
So I don't know if Uncle Cracker has a secret association with Leo Sayer, but for some reason, he is one of the suggestions that comes up when you search Leo Sayer's height.
5'10". Average height man. I don't know if I knew that Uncle Cracker was a guy. I thought it was a band.
Yeah, he's just a man.
He's just a man.
Uncle Cracker
What do
is
you
just a
expect from
man.
him? That Leo Sayer dance made me so uncomfortable.
Yeah, so he's singing his dancing song, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing, and he's just really leaning into his suspender play.
He's tugging on his suspenders real hard the whole time.
Him and all his dancers, they have white pants and white suspenders, and
And really tight t-shirts.
yeah, and all their dance moves are just pulling on their
Tugging
suspenders in various
on their
directions.
Suspenders.
Before that, though, we had the duet with Julie and Rolf they're singing I'm Old Fashioned. And at first I was afraid this was going to be another Julie Andrews sings at a Muppet moment.
Yeah,
where
it almost does.
Yes, but Rolf gets a little bit to sing there.
He gets a verse.
Yeah. It does, though, end again with somebody being mean to Julie Andrews because when she finishes it, he comments that, well, at least someone's, what's he say, squarer than me or something like that, or less cool than me.
That is what he says, yeah.
So it is a whole special about Muppets not enjoying Julie Andrews as a person, really.
No, Kermit doesn't seem to be as in love with her as he used to be, too.
Yeah, he forgot all about their Muppet Show episode where they were holding hands and singing to each other.
He didn't feel like skeezing on her today.
No, he's all in this. This is like strictly business Kermit, and he is very upset that the Muppets have been cut from this. He promised them they were going to be the stars of this show, and he shows up and they just cut him from everything.
And doesn't even get an Easter bonnet.
Which, yeah, that we'll get to that, but
Uh-huh.
what a weird special overall. We then have after Leo Sayer's dancing with all his suspender men, he hits a duet with Julie Andrews where they sing a nice little song. It's fine. And then it transitions into the previously mentioned weird Julie Andrews and Leslie Uggams interview bit.
Talk about somebody who seems to not be enjoying Julie Andrews.
Holy cow. The negative amount of chemistry between these two human beings is, I think it just feels like they don't have much chemistry together. But two, it also seems like they were written into a corner to have what feels like, or what is supposed to be, a natural conversation that then leads into a song based on what they just said.
It's structured like a musical.
Yeah, it's a bunch of very weird conversations that almost get deep, and before they get too deep, they pull up and start singing a song. And the opening one is Leslie Uggams and Julie Andrews start talking about the impact of Roots, the miniseries, and specifically about how children are learning about this time period that they didn't necessarily know that much about or weren't taught properly about. And they start to dive into that a little bit, and Julie Andrews is asking Leslie Uggams sort of about what children say to her and all this stuff. And you start to hear a piano play in the background, and you're like, what's happening here? And then she starts to say some lines that feel very unnatural, and you realize, oh no.
There's a song coming.
But it's not even like she just starts to sing. We transition to a previously filmed segment of her singing The Greatest Love of All, which the worst thing about these songs that they transition to is that it's really based on like one lyric in the song where it says, I believe that children are the future. That's really the only connective tissue between what they were talking about and why she is singing this song. And so when that happened, I was like, okay, whatever, that's fine. And then they come back to these two people sitting and talking in some chairs, and we do it again with the talks of their weird ballet career as children and how rough it was and how they were in boarding schools and all this stuff. And we transition to the song at the ballet, which is a very dark, weird song from a chorus line.
It's a real song? Okay, so I wasn't sure if it was like autobiographical. Because I was like,
yeah, it
Julie,
feels very
what
weird.
Happened to you?
Yeah, but it's from the musical A Chorus Line.
Okay.
But in the moment, it feels like we're leaning into a Julie Andrews autobiographical moment, and so it feels extremely dark and weird to insert into the middle of the special.
And also, Leslie Uggams seems like she's trying to like joke around and ad-lib a little bit, and Julie like shuts her down at all corners because I guess she knows that they have to have exactly the conversation that they're supposed to have.
It feels like a bad talk show host where they're setting somebody up to tell a story, and they're like, oh yeah, so I hear you went to the ballet recently. And it's like, oh yeah, I have the best story about going to the ballet recently. And this feels like that, where it's like, yeah, you also did ballet, right? It's
but
like,
then the host says, let me sing a 5-minute song about this real quick. You stay right there.
Yeah, this was the moment where as soon as that like second song started, I was like, oh, I don't think we're going to see any Muppets for a while.
Yeah. And it is like 30-something minutes. Well, that takes forever. That's a bulk of the special by far.
Oh yeah, and it is the worst bulk of because there's just very little chemistry. I think if you want to see Leslie Uggams have great chemistry with somebody, go watch Deadpool. She plays Deadpool's roommate.
Right.
And she's great.
So that's what, like, it could have been good. Like, if they had good chemistry, this could have been interesting, I think. Like, it could have also been called Leslie Uggams and Julie Andrews Special. Have fun together. But
that's a great name for it.
I think it is. I think it's better than
Leslie Uggams and Julie Andrews Special Have Fun Together.
Yeah. I think that sounds like a nice time.
I mean, to be fair, like One Step into Spring doesn't make any more sense than what you just said. So
no, it's not even spring themed.
There's flowers and Easter at the end, but they completely forgot about that, and they're like, shit, we should probably do something springy.
The introductory song isn't even spring themed.
No,
come on.
But then we get into a lane that we've seen Julie Andrews steer into before when she did her performances with Sandy Duncan, which is, what if we got sexy?
We're a little bit naughty.
What if we had a fun weekend where we got sexy? And so her and Leslie Uggams slip into some sparkly low-cut, high-cut on-the-leg dresses and sing some sexy songs like All That Jazz. And
the song from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
And Fever and these things in front of some blinking neon signs that say hot, oh yeah, and whoopee.
Yeah, the sexiest 3 words in the human language.
I just want a whoopee neon sign behind me in all of my meetings from now on.
Yeah, and you know what? It's fine. Leslie Uggams is fine. Julie Andrews, I still don't buy, as she doesn't want to do this. Come on. Maybe she does. I don't know.
It's very weird.
She sings into a man's butt. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I don't know what's happening in that moment, but there's a male dancer who is just standing to the side in this weird, awkward pose. And
with his butt thrusted out.
He's got his butt thrusted out, and he's not moving. He's perfectly stationary, so this wasn't like an accident. And she falls down to the ground and is like staring at his butt and sings a line and then like turns and like is rejecting his butt. Yeah. It's very, very strange. And I was trying to listen to the lyrics to see if there was something about resisting the urge or anything. And even then, it doesn't really work. I don't know why she was singing to that man's butt. Maybe she was like trying to think of like, okay, we need sexy things. Get me a sign that says whoopee. Get me a man's butt to sing to, and get me 2 low-cut dresses.
Oh, Julie, it's been too long since you've been sexy. You don't remember how.
Oh, and I will say, Julie Andrews is a very attractive woman. Like,
Yeah.
But there's something about the way that she feels like she has to try and be sexy and like what that means to her.
And to really underscore it every time she does it.
Yeah, and it just always feels like she's doing it in a really unnatural way. And it always feels like she's trying to get somebody else on board because like she doesn't want to do it by herself.
Yeah.
And so,
And Leslie Uggams is probably like, I'm perfectly sexy.
yeah.
I don't need to try to be sexy.
Right, like with the Sandy Duncan time, it was like her and Sandy Duncan talking to each other about how we never get cast to be the sexy ladies. Like, we should have some sexy, like, fun singing times. And she's like, yeah, let's do it, Julie. And they go and sing some sexy songs. And in this one, it's Julie Andrews talking about how I never get to play the sexy role. Let's go sing some sexy songs, Leslie Uggams. It's all just very odd, and the conversations are awkward. The musical numbers are weird. A weird man that we're supposed to know, named Alan King, pops up in the middle of this, pretending to play piano for them.
Yeah. Oh, that's where Alan King was. Okay, because when I was rewatching, I rewatched some of the Muppet parts, and I noticed that during the credits it says a special appearance from Alan King. I forgot that he pops up at the end there. I thought maybe he got cut out too.
No, he is just the man who is, if you notice at one moment, he is very badly pretending to play the piano.
Right.
He looks like even worse than when you notice like Rolf and Dr. Teeth not actually playing a piano. His was just like literally like flopping his hands up and down in place,
Right.
as if that was convincing. But no, he is an actor who apparently was a regular on The Tonight Show, but has been in a lot of things. Even in his later years, he was like in Rush Hour 2 for some reason. I don't know what he's doing in there. I haven't seen that movie since, 2001 when it came out. Yes, we do get to see some Muppets now as Julie Andrews enters the Muppet Garden, which is just a bunch of flowers that don't really sound or look that Muppety. Like if they were...
I was kind of going to look up and see if they actually were Muppets or if this was some kind of knockoff puppet company she hired.
Yeah, it's kind of... if these were in any other special, I would not clock them as Muppet flowers. Muppet Wiki calls them Muppet flowers, so maybe they know more than we do about who's performing those, but none of the voices sounded familiar to me.
I was going to say, once they started singing, it sounded a little bit more like your standard Muppet chorus.
I didn't like place any of the voices or anything, and none of it seemed extremely Muppety. Like those didn't look like, if I was to picture flowers that they were going to design in the Muppet studio and put on the Muppet Show, these don't look like any sort of Muppet flowers to me.
No, that's true. The flower part I kind of liked. The flower part seems like it could have been a good Muppet Show skit,
Yeah, I guess like runaway flowers attacking the host, the guest, would have been something they could have easily done.
And them all growing and her singing with them, like that wasn't bad. It was very long. It was long. Like all of it just goes on too long.
Yeah, this special feels like 3 times as long as it actually is.
Yeah.
And you're just like waiting for the next segment to come up, and even then the next segment isn't very good.
In the opening act, she raps. I would say it's rapping. And by then I had my fill already, and it was 2 minutes into the special.
Yeah,
so.
You texted me about that, and I apologized because I knew you were not in for a good time. But we do get the sudden plot twist that this is about Easter and about spring.
Yep.
And Kermit is mad that he does not have a bonnet for the Easter parade that we are only now just learning about.
Yeah.
And it's a very weird thing that makes me think maybe a scene was cut earlier or some lines were cut earlier, because it feels like something that we should have at least mentioned of like, I'll see you later for the Easter parade. Like, would have been that easy. But
or a great thing to build a whole special around is preparing for the Easter parade.
Yeah, that would be great. Not great, necessarily, if this is the same
it would have been
format,
something.
But at least mentioning at any point before 10 minutes before the end of the special that there's an Easter parade that's going to happen.
Yeah,
would have helped a little bit. But we do get a nice little parade scene that happens that feels like, it should be the finale to the special. And we get Dr. Teeth in like an Easter turban. And then
cool.
Sweetums in like an Easter fez. We get a bunch of fun little Easter bonnet and different...
Rolf is like in an Easter sombrero or something. He looks good.
Yeah, it's the Muppets seem to be having fun. Like Dr. Teeth, when he walks out in his Easter turban, looks to be very happy to be there.
Yeah, Fozzie gets to come hang out too.
Yeah, we get to see a little blooper when it comes to Fozzie. Who's ever performing Fozzie's hand lifts it up a little too high.
Got a little too excited.
And you get to see the sleeve that leads into Fozzie's arm. So imagine Fozzie's arm out to his side, and then there's just like a tube running down from the elbow. Yeah. Which is where the performer's arm would actually be inside of Fozzie's arm. But yeah, it felt like a weird fever dream, especially in this moment where we just
say the same thing.
Have a bunch of dancers, and we have Leo Sayers and Leslie Uggams and all of them coming out in different hats and walking around. And then it ends not at the Easter parade like you might assume, but with Julie Andrews coming out and singing one last song by herself.
A long song, too.
Yeah, a lot. Everything in here is long. Too long. But yeah, that's... we probably sound pretty down and defeated by this special, and I think that's how we felt after we watched it.
It's been a long time since we watched a big piece of crap.
At least, like, a big piece of crap that was not sandwiched by other good stuff. Like, we usually watch some bad stuff along with some Muppet Show or something, whereas, like, we just watched this week, and that was rough. I've been catching up on the podcast Till Death Do Us Blart, where the McElroy brothers and some other podcasters do this annual podcast where they watch Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 and talk about it every single year. And similarly, their format is that they are going to do it until they die. It is a lifetime.
Well, that's
commitment.
Not necessarily our format. We're not going to die. We're going to be fine.
I have some bad news for you, Sam. Everybody dies.
Well, yeah, but we're not going to die while we're still doing this podcast, are we?
I mean, we said this is a lifetime commitment.
Well, have you timed out how long it's actually going to take us?
I have not yet. And the Muppets keep making things, so who knows? But at some point, we'll catch up to them, right?
I think so. And then we'll just have to release episodes whenever they put new stuff out.
Yeah. But listening to Till Death Do Us Blart, I was sort of feeling their pain this week and like having to sit through and watch something that you're just not enjoying at all and trying to find the gems in it. And I think there are a few. I feel like the Rolf and Julie Andrews song is pretty good. All the performances and all the Muppets feel pretty solid. And it's as if they came straight from the set of The Muppet Show to come do this special. And they're not that happy about it.
They're working overtime. Because Jim owes his friend Julie Andrews a favor.
Yeah. But yeah, did you have a favorite of the Julie Andrews specials that we watched? And as a reminder, there was the Julie Andrews Hour from 1973, Julie on Sesame Street, also from 1973, Julie My Favorite Things from 1975, and Julie Andrews 1-to-1, also from 1975.
Whoa, Julie on Sesame Street was from 1973?
Yep, that was the Perry Como one that had the fun Broadway medley in it.
We've come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Broadway medley was fun. I honestly think my favorite one was 1-to-1. That was the funnest one to watch.
The evangelical adoption propaganda one?
Yes. It was so bizarre that at least it was just like... And the Muppets and those kids have some great moments together. Like, Kermit tells that story about worshiping God or something like that.
He sings If I Ruled the World. Like,
at least when I was done watching that one, I was like, what have I seen? What have they done? When I watched all the rest of them, like Julie on Sesame Street was such a letdown because for the most part, there's no Muppets in it. She's literally just on Sesame Street. And then at the end, it's fine. The Julie Andrews Hour one was the same way, right? Where they're just at the beginning and the end, if I'm remembering correctly. Or maybe not even at the end.
I think the redeeming thing about the Julie Andrews Hour for me is we get the Jim Henson interview. Which is nice.
Yeah.
And we get like the flower eating monster sketch, and there's like a sweet Rolf moment. But yeah, I think overall, there's not a great use of Muppets throughout these. I think my favorite use of the Muppets in any of these, it's not necessarily my favorite of the specials, but is the Broadway medley in Julie on Sesame Street, because I feel like
that's the strongest part. Yeah.
Those feel like similar to Muppet Show type of sketches. So I feel like those are pretty strong. But I feel like, the rest of them I could never watch again and be absolutely fine.
You know what? I'm going to take that back. Julie, My Favorite Things, does the clodhopper part where she's dancing with the clodhoppers and her Electric Mayhem segment where they are mean to her for being lame. Those are good. Maybe Julie, My Favorite Things, is my favorite one. But I'm going to stand by one-on-one, or one-to-one.
I think there's some weirdness in there that is worth appreciating, but that special is just so...
Yeah, it's nasty, but it has great set design. Beautiful graphic design. Remember that?
Oh, yeah, it's got a lot of church money thrown at it.
Yeah.
I do want to note before we move on that the Julie My Favorite Thing special is the origin of the When You Were a Tadpole and I Was a Fish song,
Right.
the song for Kermit that Julie Andrews sings. And we have talked a couple times on here about how it's very confusing because, Kermit did used to be a tadpole, but Julie did not actually used to be a fish.
Actually, you don't know that, Matt. She could have been.
As far as I know, I have not read her autobiography, but I don't believe Julie Andrews was ever a fish.
Maybe Julie Andrews is just weird. You think she's just a weirdo?
Well, I would have thought that, but our resident researcher, apparently, Carolyn, who previously they tweeted us about the Purple People Eater float in the Rose Parade video.
Oh, yeah.
They have once again done the work for us, and they
great.
tweeted us that apparently it's referencing an old poem from like the early 1900s or something by Langdon Smith called Evolution that starts off, when you were a tadpole and I was a fish in the Paleozoic time, and side by side on the ebbing tide we sprawled through the ooze and slime. And so it's a really, really long poem that I am not going to read all of throughout this, but it is all about like evolutionary times, and like it goes through a bunch of... It's a fun poem to read, but very long. But repeatedly in it, it does say, you were a tadpole and I was a fish. So it is a clear reference to that poem.
So she's actually a genius.
Yeah.
Who knows smart people poems.
Yeah, we're just the dummies. Thank you, Carolyn, for doing all the work that we don't do. But yes, we will now wash our hands of Julie Andrews' One Step into Spring and move on to our Muppet of the Week. This week's Muppet of the Week is Timmy Monster. And you might be saying, who the hell is Timmy Monster? He has not been named yet on The Muppet Show as we have watched, but he is in the opening number, the opening theme song, so you definitely have seen him. He is the blue and greenish fuzzy guy who is not Thog and is not Sweetums and is not the Mutations, who is there under the arches. He is, I think, one of the most forgotten full-bodied Muppets. And he has looked a little bit different over the episodes that we've seen him in, but he's now settling into his final form in the episodes that we're watching. He's always been the big blue and green guy, but early on he had some weird big eye antenna things that like encircled his tiny eyes, and he looked a little bit more like an alien than a monster. And then, as we saw in the Zero Mostel episode, he got some more traditional Muppet eyes that were just big dark pupils and a big furry eyebrow, and he also got like a tuft of green hair on the top of his head. And that is the version you will see in the opening theme song. Even throughout, I believe, all 5 seasons of The Muppet Show, they keep using that same archway shot. And so you will not see an updated Timmy Monster in the opening credits, but you will see an updated Timmy Monster both in Julie Andrews' Step into Spring, whatever it's called, I already forgot, where he now looks a little bit more like dim-witted. His eyes are a little bit more crossed. He's got tinier pupils and big blue eyelids, and he just looks, not quite as smart as he used to.
He looks done now. I feel like he didn't look done. Like he was like kind of low rent up until now.
Yeah, he definitely looked like they designed some really solid monsters in the Thogs and the Sweetums of the world, and then they had some extra scrap material, and they were like, well, I guess somebody could wear that. But Timmy Monster's debut was in season 1 of The Muppet Show, and the episode featuring Ben Vereen. And he will go on to appear in more episodes throughout all 5 seasons of The Muppet Show, featuring more prominently in some later episodes, and I believe that's where he gets his name. And he will also pop up in The Great Muppet Caper as well. So we will see him. There's more to come of Timmy Monster. He will show up sporadically in other projects. But much like our other large monster Muppets, and like we talked about recently with Beautiful Day Monster, Timmy never had a consistent performer. He has been performed by Dave Goelz, Jim Henson, Steve Whitmire, Kevin Clash, and Betsy Bedos. So no one really owns the role of Timmy Monster. Notably, if you watch the 2011 Muppets movie, which features a giant Thog, the one where they built the puppet too big and he runs into the arch,
Yeah.
the Muppet monsters that are entering under the archway there, you see Thog, you see the mutations, you see Sweetums. There is no Timmy monster.
Oh, no.
He's not there. And to, let's say, cover their ass, in the Muppets character encyclopedia, it says that Timmy is absent because, quote, Timmy retired from show business and now runs a small organic bakery called Timmy's Treats, which...
That's nice for him.
Yeah.
Was there like one less arch than there was
Nope,
in the
there's
intro?
just an open arch.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's clearly somebody is missing from this picture.
Poor guy.
It was also, I think, worth noting in the character encyclopedia that it says at an early age, Timmy Monster could be found dancing on the kitchen table, and after honing his skills in school talent shows, he auditioned for the Muppets and got the role.
That's cute.
Yeah, he's always just been a dancer.
Yeah.
But he is unfortunately not, we don't get a lot of personality from Timmy Monster in any of these episodes. And so if I'm going to rate him out of 60, he's going to get a pretty low rating. I'm going to put him at a 30, Sam.
I feel like I need more evidence about Timmy Monster because so far we've basically only seen him in his incomplete form. He has not hit his final form until this special, right? Or did he show up? Is this the first time we've seen him look like this?
We may have seen him once or twice in his final form so far, but he is, I know, hitting his stride with his looks in late season 2. So it's right around where we are at in our watch.
I couldn't care less about Timmy Monster. I'm going to give him 1 star.
Yeah, he's very
I never
forgettable.
even knew he existed. I wouldn't, if you had told me to name the lineup of those Archway Muppets in the intro, I would have named every single one of them, except I wouldn't have even had a glimmer of thought that Timmy Monster existed.
Sorry, Timmy Monster, that, everyone has forgotten you.
Yeah, sorry, bud. You should have looked cooler, I guess.
I'm sure he's somebody's favorite Muppet.
I hope not. That would be pathetic.
I feel like every Muppet is somebody's favorite Muppet.
Do you really think so? Even J.P. Gross?
Okay, well, maybe not every Muppet. But speaking of J.P. Gross, I saw our friend J.P. Gross this week because I watched Muppet Christmas Carol. And I never noticed that his puppet is in that before, but because we've been seeing so much of him lately, I noticed when he runs by camera in one of the opening scenes.
Is he in the intro singing a song or something?
I think he's part of the There Goes Mr. Humbug song. I don't know that he actually gets a line, but we see him run right past camera, and it's very identifiable as Mr. J.P. Gross.
George the janitor is there too, isn't he?
Yeah, he gets a line, though. But that leads us into, obviously I watched that this week, but we probably watched some non-Muppet stuff this week too, Sam.
I think I did.
What did you watch?
I played Halo. Does that count?
Yeah. I think we normally say, what non-Muppet stuff did you watch this week? But I think in general, it's what non-Muppet stuff did you enjoy this week?
Okay, cool. So if I write a book, I could say that too?
Yeah, maybe one day.
I'm working up to it, okay? I've been reading the backs of shampoo bottles and stuff.
Ooh, that's a good start.
To train. Yeah. I played Halo Infinite, which is like the new multiplayer Halo game, which is just like every other Halo game, but very fun. What did I watch? I must have watched something. Oh, I've been watching Columbo. You ever seen Columbo?
I know Columbo. I have never watched a second of actual Columbo.
Oh, this weekend we were bored at my parents' house and we clicked on Columbo, and it's a treat. I love it. If you love a detective show, check out Columbo, won't you?
I watched a bunch of stuff this week because, it was Thanksgiving, and then we also, it's getting into Christmas time, so that transition's happening where I watched Planes, Stranger Than Automobiles on Thanksgiving because it's the only and best Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah.
And then I watched a whole bunch of Christmas TV episodes to get into the season. And then, as our tradition is, every year when we put up our Christmas tree, we put on Muppet Christmas Carol, which is why I was watching that. And I also watched a good documentary this week, Kurt Vonnegut, Unstuck in Time.
Oh,
which
sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool documentary all about Kurt Vonnegut, obviously. But it's mostly about the guy who made the documentary, who also went on to be a director on Curb Your Enthusiasm and a bunch of other things. Basically started making this documentary about Kurt Vonnegut in the 80s. And every 5 or 10 years or so, he feels like he has enough to do something with it, and then nothing happens, or something happens in Kurt Vonnegut's life that changes it, and we're like, well, we need to film more, we need to change this, or we need to interview these more people. And so it's about Kurt Vonnegut a lot, but it's also about the experience of basically living side by side with Kurt Vonnegut for 40 years and documenting his life.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is Kurt Vonnegut interviewed in it?
Yeah, he's in it like a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah, and they interview his family, and yeah, it's they don't shy away from the like more controversial side of him, where he cheated on his wife a lot. So yeah, they don't paint like just a perfect picture of him. They dive into all the dirty details of everything. So. Well, that does it for this week, Sam. I will try not to make that mistake again of making us watch an entire Julie Andrews special that has about 5 minutes of Muppets in it.
Well, you don't have any opportunities to make that mistake again.
That's true, but I'm sure there are some wild specials in the 80s that I will try to at least lump together with some other fun things for us to watch.
I forgive you.
Oh, well, that's good, because, I mean, you're the only one who could really hold it against me.
That's true.
Aside from our listeners, I guess they could stop listening.
Oh, well, you didn't have to bring that up. You can't stop listening, actually. It's not allowed.
By starting to listen to this podcast, you have also signed a lifelong commitment to listen to every episode.
Read the fine print before you start listening to a podcast willy-nilly.
It's in the iTunes terms of service that you never read.
Yeah.
But next week, we will be getting back to some Muppet Show and discussing what the Muppets were up to in the spring and summer of 1978 as we finish up Season 2 of the Muppet Show with the episodes featuring Petula Clark, or Petula Clark, as Kermit says in the episode for some reason. I usually watch, if I don't know how to pronounce somebody's name, I will go watch the clip where Kermit is introducing them, and when Scooter says it, so I can understand how to say their name properly. And Scooter says Petula, and immediately Kermit says Petula.
Uh-oh.
And that happens throughout the episode, but I watched some like news coverage about her, and they say Petula, so I'm thinking just Kermit's really wrong.
Too polite to correct Kermit.
Yeah. But yes, we'll be watching the Petula Clark episode, as well as the Cleo Lane episode and the Cloris Leachman episode of The Muppet Show.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. And we will also be checking out a clip from a Bob Hope birthday special called Happy Birthday Bob that features both Kermit and Miss Piggy. But before we go, we need to thank our friend Tuna for creating the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at Kermitment Pod, where you can find the playlist and links to all the things that we're going to watch in upcoming episodes. And you can also email us at mail@kermitment.com if you have any Muppet memories you'd like to share with us, or any secret links to the stuff that we haven't been able to watch.
Yeah, if you want to research stuff we're too stupid to know about.
Yeah. And you can follow me on the internet at Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.